Hello friends, welcome to Prashant IAS. So friends, in the last class we have discussed about the topic of financial emergency, and in this class we will continue our discussion further. So friends, as you can see on the screen, the topic of today's class is the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so from this class we will start our discussion with Indian judiciary, and in this class our main topic is the Supreme Court of India. So friends, let's begin. So friends, first of all, the most basic question is that in which part of the Indian Constitution the provisions related to Supreme Court is given. Okay, so in the previous classes also I have told you many times that whenever we are discussing about any topic, so first of all we need to know that where this topic is given in the Constitution of India. So as today we are discussing about the Supreme Court, so first of all we need to know that where the provisions related to Supreme Court are given in the Constitution of India. So friends, first of all let us try to find the answer to this question. So friends, when you will read the Constitution of India, then you will find that the part 5 of Indian Constitution is union. Okay, means in part 5 all the provisions related to union are given. Okay, so first of all the part 5 of the Indian Constitution is union. So it means that in the part 5 all the concepts, all the provisions, all the articles related to union is given. Okay, and when you will go inside the part 5, then you will find that when you will read the chapter 4 of part 5, okay, when you will read the chapter 4 of part 5, then you will find that the chapter 4 of part 5 is judiciary. Okay, so what happens friends, that when you will read the Constitution of India, then you will find that the chapter 4 of part 5 is union judiciary. Why? Because part 5 is union and chapter 4 of part 5 is judiciary. So it means that the chapter 4 of part 5 is union judiciary. And what is union judiciary? So union judiciary is basically Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is union judiciary. Okay, so all the provisions related to Supreme Court of India are given under part 5. All the provisions related to Supreme Court of India are given under chapter 4 of part 5. Okay, so all the provisions related to Supreme Court are given under chapter 4 of part 5 in the Constitution of India. Now friends, in the previous classes I taught you that the polity of India, okay, the polity of India is actually federal in nature. Okay, so in the previous classes I taught you that the polity of India is federal in nature. Now what does it mean when I am saying that the polity of India is federal in nature? So it means that there are two levels of government in India. Okay, the one is called as union government and the second is called as state government. Okay, so if you will see for at the union level, means at the central level, then you will find that there is a separate legislature. There is a separate legislature for entire country, and this separate legislature for entire country is called as the Parliament of India. Okay, and I have already told you that there is a clear-cut distribution of power between union and states. Okay, so if we will look for states, then states also have their separate legislature, and the state legislature is known as State Legislative Assembly. Okay, and in some states we are also having State Legislative Council, but most of the states are only having State Legislative Assembly. Now Parliament is authorized to make law on the union list given in the Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution, and state legislature is authorized to make law on the state list given in the Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, and Parliament makes law for entire country, whereas a state legislature makes law for the concerned state. Okay, and friends, as there is separate legislature for union and state, similarly there is separate executive for union and states also. Okay, for example, the executive for the union is called as Union Council of Ministers. Okay, so it is called as Union Council of Ministers, and this Union Council of Ministers is headed by the Prime Minister. So this Union Council of Ministers and Prime Minister is the executive for union, means this is the executive for entire country. Whereas if you will look for states, then for states there is a separate executive. Each state is having its separate executive. Okay, so the executive of states is also called as Council of Ministers, but at the level of states, this Council of Ministers is headed by Chief Minister. Okay, so State Council of Minister and Chief Minister forms the state executive. Okay, now this union executive executes the laws or implement the laws made by the parliament, and this state executive execute the laws or implement the laws made by state legislature. Okay, so it means that the polity of India is federal, means there is a clear cut distribution of power between union and states. There are two levels of government, one at union level and other at state level, and union and state governments are the coordinate bodies. Neither union is subordinate to states nor state governments are subordinate to union. Okay, so they are coordinate bodies, they are equally powerful, they are like brothers. But friends, this is not the case with judiciary. Okay, so why I have told you this again? So I know that I have told you this thing many a times, but why I have told you this again, that the polity of India is federal, and what is the meaning of this statement? Because the judiciary of India is not federal. Okay, so now what I am telling you that Indian judiciary, okay, or what we call as judiciary of India, Indian judiciary or judiciary of India is not federal. It is not federal. Okay, now friends, Indian judiciary is not federal. It means that the Constitution of India has provided for a single unified judiciary from top to bottom. Okay, so the Constitution of India has provided for a single unified judiciary. The Constitution of India has provided for a single unified judiciary from top to bottom. Now friends, what is the meaning of single unified judiciary? So for understanding the meaning of single unified judiciary, now you need to understand a rough structure of Indian judiciary. So now we will discuss about a rough, means a overview of the structure of Indian judiciary. So friends, if we are discussing about the structure of Indian judiciary, then there are two very important things about the structure of Indian judiciary. So the first thing is that the Indian judiciary is hierarchically organized. Okay, what is the first thing? So the first thing is that the Indian judiciary is hierarchically organized. And the second most important thing about the structure of Indian judiciary is that it is organically linked. Okay, so Indian judiciary is hierarchically organized and it is organically linked. And friends, believe me, if you will understand the meaning of both of these terms, then you will easily understand that what is the structure of Indian judiciary. So first of all, I will explain you the meaning of hierarchically organized. So what does it mean when I am saying that the Indian judiciary is hierarchically organized? So friends, if you will see the structure of Indian judiciary, then at the top there is Supreme Court. Okay, so at the top of Indian judiciary there is Supreme Court. Now there, after Supreme Court, then comes High Courts. Okay, so after Supreme Court, then comes all the High Courts, and after High Courts, then comes District Courts. Okay, and after District Courts, then comes Subordinate Courts. Okay, so now what this diagram means, okay, or what does it mean? So I am saying that at the top there is Supreme Court, then comes the High Court, then comes the District Courts, and then comes the Subordinate Court. So it means that Supreme Court is at the top, means Supreme Court is the boss of all the courts working in India. Supreme Court is the boss of all the courts existing in India. Okay, Supreme Court is the boss of High Courts, Supreme Court is the boss of District Courts, and Supreme Court is the boss of Subordinate Courts also. Okay, so Supreme Court is at the top. Supreme Court is the boss of all the courts in India. Okay, and friends, it also means that the Supreme Court exercises the control over high courts. Okay, so it means that as Supreme Court is the boss of high courts, so now Supreme Court can give direction to high court. Now Supreme Court can control the high courts. Okay, so Supreme Court functions as the boss of high courts. So Supreme Court can give direction to high court. Supreme Court can control the high courts. Okay, now similarly, high courts are the boss of district court. Okay, so high courts are the boss of district court and subordinate court. So it directly means that high court can give direction to district court and subordinate court, and high court exercises the control over district court and subordinate courts. Okay, so high court functions like a boss of district court and subordinate court. So high court exercises the control over district court and subordinate courts, and similarly high court can give direction to district courts and subordinate courts. Okay, and after high court then comes district court, and at the below there are subordinate courts in India. Okay, so this is the very basic structure of Indian judiciary. Okay, so now friends, when I taught you about the Indian polity, okay, means when I was teaching you about the union government and state government, then I taught you that India is federal. So India is federal, it means that neither state government is under central government nor central government is under state government. Neither central government is subordinate to state nor state governments are subordinate to center. But if you will see the structure of Indian judiciary, then high courts are actually subordinate to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is the boss of high courts. Okay, but in the polity of India, union government is not the boss of state government. State government are not subordinate to union government. But when you will see the judicial structure, then Supreme Court acts like the boss of high court, and high courts are subordinate to Supreme Court. Similarly, district courts and subordinate courts are basically subordinate to high court, and high court functions like the boss of district court and subordinate courts. Okay, so this means that India has a single unified judiciary. Why? Because Supreme Court is at the top, and Supreme Court has the control of entire judicial function or entire judicial structure of India. Okay, so this means that India has a single unified judiciary, means there is same judiciary for entire country and for all the states also. Okay, there is same judiciary for entire country and there is same judiciary for all the states. So judiciary is singly unified. Now friends, after this, the second important point was that the judiciary of India is organically linked. Now what is the meaning of this statement that judiciary of India is organically linked? So it basically means that what happens, that the judges of subordinate court and district court, the judges of subordinate court and district court can be promoted, elevated and appointed as the judges of high court. Okay, now what does it mean? So it means that, for example, let's suppose if a judge is working as in the district court. Okay, so let's suppose if the judge is working in the district court, and let's suppose if he is district and session judge. Okay, so let's suppose there is a district judge. So now this district judge, okay, or what we also call as DJ. Okay, so now this district judge can be promoted to high court. Okay, so organically linked means that the judges working in the district court can be promoted and appointed as the judges of high court. Now similarly, the judges working in the high court, can be promoted, means they can be elevated and appointed as the judge of Supreme Court. Okay, so organically linked means it is linked from bottom to top, means there is a chance of promotion of judges from bottom to top. The judges which are working in district court, they can be elevated and they can be appointed. The same judge can be appointed as the judge of high court. Similarly, if a judge is working in the high court, if a judge is working as the justice of high court, then he can be promoted, he can be elevated and he can be appointed as the judge of Supreme Court. Okay, means it is organically linked. There is a chance that a judge working at the lower level can be promoted to a higher level. The judge working at the district court can be elevated and appointed as the judge of high court. The judge working in the high court can be elevated and he can be appointed as the judge of Supreme Court. Okay, so this is a rough and a overview of the structure of Indian judiciary. Okay, so now you need to remember that first of all, Indian judiciary is hierarchically organized and it is organically linked. Okay, and this means that the judiciary of India is a single unified judiciary. The same judiciary is for union as well as it is for states. Now friends, after this let us discuss about some of the very important functions of Supreme Court. Okay, so as the topic of today's class is Supreme Court, so first of all I taught you about the structure and the overview of Indian judiciary. But now first of all we need to study about the Supreme Court of India, as Supreme Court is at the top. So as we are studying about the Supreme Court of India, so first of all we need to study that what are the main and the most important functions of the Supreme Court. So friends, the first function of Supreme Court is that Supreme Court is the primary protector of fundamental rights that are guaranteed to individuals by the Constitution of India. Okay, now what does it mean? So friends, in the previous classes, I taught you the topic of fundamental rights in a very detailed manner. So fundamental rights are basically given in the part 3 of the Indian Constitution, from Article 12 to Article 35 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so fundamental rights are given in part 3 and majorly Article 12 to Article 35 covers all the fundamental rights. Okay, for example, right to equality, right to freedom, right to the freedom of religion. Okay, so there are many fundamental rights. Now it is the duty of the Supreme Court. Constitution gives the duty to the Supreme Court of India to protect the fundamental rights which are given by the individuals which are given to the individuals by the Constitution of India. Okay, so the meaning of this statement is that the Constitution of India provides many fundamental rights to the individuals living in India. Okay, some of them are available only for the citizens and some are available for all the individuals living in India. So now what this first function means? So it means that the Constitution of India has given a duty. Constitution of India has given a duty to the Supreme Court of India, that it is the duty of Supreme Court to protect the fundamental rights which are guaranteed to the individuals by the Constitution. Now it means that if the fundamental right of any person is violated, whether it is violated by any other individual or it is violated by the government, so if the fundamental right of any individual is violated, then this individual can directly approach to Supreme Court. Then he can directly file the case in Supreme Court. And Supreme Court is duty bound. Supreme Court is duty bound by the Constitution of India to protect and to restore the fundamental right of that person. So this is the first function of Supreme Court of India. Now friends, after this, the second function of the Supreme Court is that the Supreme Court is safeguarding the supremacy of Indian Constitution and thus acts as the custodian of Constitution. Okay, so in short we can also say that the Supreme Court of India acts as the or works as the custodian of the Constitution. But now what does it mean, or what is the meaning of this statement? Okay, so this basically means that let's suppose if any organ of the government is trying to violate the Constitution. For example, let's suppose if executive is trying to violate the Constitution, if executive is not working according to the provisions of Constitution, then Supreme Court of India has the power to punish the executive. Then Supreme Court of India has the power to give direction to the executive to work according to the provisions of Constitution. Why? Because Constitution is supreme in India. Every organ of the government has to work according to the provisions of Constitution. Okay. Similarly, let's suppose if legislature, okay, now it may be the union legislature or it may be the legislature of any state. So if the legislature is making the laws which are violating the provisions of Constitution, means legislature is not obeying the Constitution, then in this case Supreme Court of India has the power to declare such laws made by the legislature as null and void. Okay, and then Supreme Court will give direction to legislature to make such laws which abide by the Constitution or which follows the Constitution. Okay, so it means that if legislature tries to disobey, if legislature tries to violate the constitution, then Supreme Court has the power to declare such laws of legislature as null and void and thus restore the supremacy of constitution. Similarly friends, if any individual person tries to violate the constitution, okay, if any individual tries to violate the constitution, then Supreme Court punishes that individual and then Supreme Court directs him to follow the constitution. For example friends, we can say that the Constitution of India guarantees to everyone what? Right against untouchability. Okay, means anyone in India cannot practice untouchability against any other person. Okay, so if let's suppose if any person is practicing untouchability against any other person, then the person who is discriminated, then the person who is victim, that person can directly approach to Supreme Court and then he can file the case against the person who have practiced untouchability with him. Okay, and then Supreme Court will punish that person who has practiced untouchability with the other persons. Okay, so in this way what happens that the Supreme Court of India has the power to enforce the supremacy of the constitution. Means if in country anybody is violating the constitution, if anybody is not obeying the constitution, then in this case Supreme Court has the power to punish that person or that organ of the government or that institution or anyone. Okay, and Supreme Court has the power to ensure the supremacy of the constitution, and due to this reason Supreme Court is known as the custodian of the Indian constitution. Friends, once a question was also asked in your UPSC exam from this function of the Supreme Court. So kindly try to remember this function of Supreme Court, because earlier also UPSC has asked the question from this function of Supreme Court. Okay. Now friends, after this, the third function of the Supreme Court is that Supreme Court is the highest court of appeal in India. Now what does it mean? So I will explain you this thing or this function of the Supreme Court with the help of one example so that all the students can understand this easily. Okay, so let's suppose what happened that this is a boy, or let's suppose that this is a man and the name of this man is Mr. A. Okay, so let's suppose the name of this person is Mr. A. Okay, now let's suppose there is another person and the name of this another person is Mr. B. Now what happened, one day they both were quarreling, and in the process what happened, Mr. A attacked on Mr. B and Mr. A killed Mr. B. Okay, so when Mr. A killed Mr. B, then what will happen, then definitely murder case will be filed against Mr. A and then Mr. A will be arrested by the police. Okay, so let's suppose that first of all the trial of his case was going on in a district and session court. Okay, so first of all the trial of his case was going on, or the hearing of his case was going on in the district and session court. Now what happened that when district and session court listen all the things and see all the evidences, then district and session court said that yes, it is proved that Mr. A has committed the murder, and so we are giving him life imprisonment. Okay, life imprisonment means now Mr. A has to live in jail for his entire life. Okay, so what happened, the district and session court give the judgment, and in its judgment district and session court give life imprisonment to Mr. A. Now Mr. A was not satisfied by the judgment of district and session court, and Mr. A was trying to prove himself innocent. Okay, so now Mr. A hired one very prominent lawyer, very famous lawyer. So this lawyer suggested him that now we should go to High Court and now we will file the case in the High Court. Okay, so what happened, now the case was filed in the High Court and then trial went on in High Court, and when the High Court gave the decision, so now High Court also said that yes, we are also satisfied that you have committed the murder and the decision of the district court was correct. So now we are also giving you life imprisonment. Okay, but now also, okay, so and life imprisonment is really very danger thing, because now Mr. A didn't want to live in jail for his entire life. He wanted to see the world, he wanted to explore the world, but as court has given him the life imprisonment, so now what he will do? So now again he approached his lawyer and he said that, sir, please save me at any cost. I just want not to be in jail. Okay, so now lawyer suggested him that no problem, now we will go to Supreme Court. Okay, so what happened that now the case of Mr. A went to Supreme Court, and in Supreme Court what happened that again the trial happened and Supreme Court also found that Mr. A is guilty. So now this time Supreme Court also gave him life imprisonment. So now my question is that once the Supreme Court of India has given life imprisonment to Mr. A, then now can he appeal in anywhere in India? Okay, now can he go anywhere else for the justice? Okay, so kindly pause the video and give your answer in the comment section. So friends, once the Supreme Court of India has given its judgment, okay, for example, what happened that when District and Session Court gave the judgment, then Mr. A appealed against the judgment of District and Session Court in the High Court. Okay, and when High Court gave the judgment, then Mr. A appealed against the judgment of High Court in the Supreme Court of India. Okay, but when the Supreme Court of India has given the judgment that yes, okay, that yes, you deserve life imprisonment because you committed the murder, so now Mr. A cannot appeal anywhere else. Why? Because Supreme Court is the highest court of appeal in India. The decision of Supreme Court is final and binding. Okay, the decision given by the Supreme Court is the final decision and it is the binding decision. Okay, so now Mr. A cannot appeal anywhere else because as the judgment is already given by the Supreme Court of India, and Supreme Court of India is the highest court of appeal. Okay, no court can take the appeal against the Supreme Court of India. Why? Because Supreme Court of India is the highest court of appeal. Once the decision is given by the Supreme Court, now this decision is final. Now he cannot appeal anywhere else against this decision. Now friends, after this, the fourth function of the Supreme Court is that the Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution of India. Now what does it mean? So it means that sometimes or many a times what happens that there arises confusion. Okay, what happens that there arises confusion regarding various provisions of the Constitution. That what is the meaning of this provision of this Constitution, or what this provision of the Constitution wants to convey. Okay, so in this case what can happen that dispute may arise. In this case dispute may arise. Okay, so now who will interpret the Constitution? Now who will give meaning out of the provisions of the Constitution? So it is the Supreme Court of India which derives the meaning or which interprets the Constitution of India. Okay, so it is the Supreme Court of India which derives the meaning from the various articles of the Constitution of India, and Supreme Court is the interpreter of the Constitution of India, and the interpretation of Constitution made by the Supreme Court is final. Okay, so the interpretation made by the Supreme Court is final. Interpretation of Constitution made by the Supreme Court is final. So we can say that Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. So I can give you one example also. For example, let's suppose if there is a question that whether let's suppose that if there is a question that whether right to marriage, okay, whether right to marriage is a fundamental right or not. Okay, so then who will give answer to this question? So definitely when this type of question will come in front of the court, then Supreme Court will take this case and then Supreme Court will interpret the Constitution. And let's suppose what happened that Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution and Supreme Court find that let's suppose if a person marries with a partner who he doesn't like, or who is not perfect for him, okay, or who is not compatible with him, so in this case his entire life will be ruined. Okay, for example let me tell you one story. Let's suppose this is a boy. Okay, let's suppose this is a boy and let's suppose that this is a girl. Okay, now friends, let's suppose that this boy and this girl are in love with each other. Okay, and this boy wanted to marry this girl and this girl wanted to marry this boy. Now what happened? The family of this boy, okay, let's suppose he is the father of this boy. Now the father of this boy wanted that my son should marry the girl of my choice. Okay, but now the son wants to marry this girl. Okay, so now let's suppose if this person, okay, if this person will marry this girl, then definitely he will always think for his girlfriend. He will never be able to love this girl. Okay, so in this case, his entire life will be ruined. The life of this girl will also be ruined, and the life of this girl will also be ruined. Means in this case, three lives are just getting ruined. Okay. So it means that if you are not getting married with the partner of your choice, if you are not getting married with the partner of your choice, then it means that your life can be exploited, your life can be ruined. So Supreme Court said that the Article 21 gives right to life. Article 21 gives right to life. So right to life also means right to get married with the partner of our choice. Okay. So if you want to live a dignified life, if you want to live a decent life, then it is a must that you must get married with the partner of your life. So right to get married with the partner of your choice is the fundamental right given in the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Okay. And when Supreme Court interpreted the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, then Supreme Court find that if a person is not getting married with the partner of his choice or of her choice, then definitely the life of that person will not be a dignified life. There are very high chances that the life of that person can be ruined. So Supreme Court made the interpretation that right to get married with the partner of your choice is also the right to life. Okay, so this is a derived fundamental right. And once UPSC also asked question from means I think that in the recent past only the UPSC asked question from right to marriage. Okay, so right to marriage is a fundamental right given under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, and it is a derived fundamental right. Okay, why? Because when Supreme Court made the interpretation, then we got this right. Okay, and once the UPSC asked question from this, so please kindly try to remember that right to marriage is also a fundamental right. Now friends, after this, the fifth function of the Supreme Court is that the Supreme Court is the sole arbitrator of the disputes between union and the states or among the states over the distribution of powers. Now friend, what does this mean? Okay, that Supreme Court is the sole arbitrator. So arbitrator basically means the resolver. So let me give you one example, then you will understand it very easily. Okay, so friends, I have told you in many a times that Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution clearly divides the power between center and states. Okay, and for that there are three lists given in the Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution. The first list is called as Union list, the second list is called as State list, and the third list is called as Concurrent list. Now friends, for Union list, Parliament makes law and the Union executive execute these laws. For State list, State legislature makes the law and State executive implement these laws. And for Concurrent list, Parliament and State legislature both can make the law, and if the law is made by Parliament, then it will be implemented by the Union executive, and if it is made by the State legislature, then it will be implemented by the State executive. Okay, now Constitution clearly divides the power between center and state, but many a times what happens that there arises a dispute between central government and state governments. Okay, there arises a dispute between central government and state government over the distribution of these powers. Okay, for example, let's suppose the central government is saying that this power deserves to me or this power belongs to me, and the state governments are saying that no sir, this power belongs to us, this power does not belong to you. Okay, so in this case, who will resolve this dispute? So definitely in this case, Supreme Court of India will resolve this dispute. Okay, similarly, now dispute can also arise between two states. Let's suppose this is state 1 and this is state 2. Now they both are fighting over anything. Okay, so let's suppose they can fight over the distribution of power also, and they can also fight for anything else also. Okay, so if there is a dispute between two states of India, then who will resolve that dispute? So definitely the Supreme Court of India will resolve the dispute which is arising between two states. Okay, and if the dispute is between more than two states, then also Supreme Court of India will resolve the dispute. So the basic the main thing is that if there is a dispute between center and states or among many states, then in this case the Supreme Court of India will resolve the dispute between center and state or among the states. So this is the fifth function of the Supreme Court of India. Now friends, after this let us discuss about the sixth function of the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has a consultative role. Okay, so Supreme Court also has a consultative role where it acts as a advisor to the President of India on any issue of law or fact. Now what does it mean? So it means that, let's suppose, if the President of India got stuck on any question of law, okay, and now who is expert in the field of law? So definitely Supreme Court is expert in the field of law. Why? Because Supreme Court is the top court in India. Supreme Court is the highest court in India. So if President of India has confusion on any issue of law, then President of India can seek advice from the Supreme Court of India, and then Supreme Court of India gives the best advice to the President of India for that question of law or fact. Okay, so Supreme Court also has one role, that Supreme Court of India works as the advisor or the consultative to the President of India. Okay, so Supreme Court also works as an advisor or consultative to the President of India. So if President is stuck on any question of law or fact, then President can seek the advice of Supreme Court in that case. So friends, that's all for today. I hope that you all must have enjoyed the lecture. And if you have enjoyed the lecture, then please like the video, comment, subscribe the channel, press the bell icon and select all. Now friends, we will continue our discussion further in the next class. Okay, so in the next class, we will cover other things related to Supreme Court. For example, the qualification to become the judge of Supreme Court, how the judges of Supreme Court are appointed, how the judges of Supreme Court are removed, and all these things related to the judges of Supreme Court. So now friends, we will meet in next class. Till then, stay healthy, stay indoors, take care of yourself. Thank you.